Ooh, what's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, Nestlemania alongside for the ride is a man that is definitely a chicken tender slut, JC.
I mean, who doesn't love chicken tenders? Nestlemania, if you could put any sauce on a chicken tender, what would it be?
I'm gonna go with barbecue.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
ranch sometimes, but I don't know. I like ranch. Ranch is a hidden gem. What about
Okay.
you? What about you?
Well, if I could put anything on it, Chick-fil-A sauce is number one.
Oh, okay.
My sauce of choice for most joints is honey mustard, but I can take your ranch, spin a little buffalo sauce in there, and give me a buffalo ranch type sauce. I'm into that. Barbecue, I don't love as much on my tendies. I'm now dipping fries in barbecue. Low key pretty good, but honey barbecue or any sort of golden or any sauce like that, yeah, we're into that.
Chick-fil-A sauce in general is just good on everything. It's honestly my preferred condiment. Like,
yeah, I know
ketchup,
it's number one.
if it's not stocked in my refrigerator, I'm gonna throw a hissy fit. You know what I mean? That's how.
Well, you know you can buy the bottles.
Absolutely, I know that.
I got a fucking Magnum in there. Nothing. I go through it so quick. It's insane. A fucking Magnum of Chick-fil-A sauce to the face, man. Fucking choke over there.
You said Magnum.
A Magnum of Chick-fil-A sauce. You want to know a hot take? There was one person on the planet I know that doesn't like Chick-fil-A sauce.
Is his name Billy?
No, Adam Bertsky.
Really?
Yeah, it's his worst quality.
If you lined him up with a bunch of people who I know enjoy food, I would not expect that man to not enjoy.
He has really bad food takes. Love Bert. I don't know if he's listening right now, but his food
He'll
takes,
just appear like Joe Henry.
Doc. He has the worst food takes on the planet. But yeah, one of his worst might be that he doesn't like Chick-fil-A sauce.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't not have it. It's just all right.
So
anyway.
good. You want to know something? So yesterday I was at the dentist, and my dentist is in Burlington, Nestlemania. So guess where I went after the dentist?
Chick-fil-A.
Ta-da! I did. And then guess what? Last night I came home, and I had to make some dinner while I was working. I made a turkey sandwich. Guess what condiment I put on that turkey sandwich?
Chick-fil-A sauce.
Oh my God. Like if I die, it's because I probably ate too much Chick-fil-A sauce.
I'll say this much. It blew my mind when I went to Woburn. We're not even talking about wrestling. We're talking about, this might be a Chick-fil-A podcast. But the fact that the way the drive-thru is in Woburn is second to none. They have 2 drive-thrus, like 2 lanes, because they just know better. It's unbelievable.
It is their pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, you better believe I clipped that Magnum comment. Listen, that was fucking great because I did not expect a Magnum.
I'm telling you, I buy the biggest bottle possible.
I know, but you could have said a large. But the fact you said Magnum is like XL. You know what I mean? Wink,
because
wink.
You know what's bigger than a large? A Magnum. I wouldn't know, but
neither would I. Neither would I. Got any teeny weenies? Anyway, let's get back onto the regular part of the program here. As we talk about, we've got Saturday night's main event. We've got Raw SmackDown. We've got the holiday season. We've got the Knockers approaching, folks. It's holiday season.
Yeah, next week, it's the Knocker season, baby. Then the Golden Knocker Awards will be giving out. It will not be a live show. It'll obviously be taped, but we still appreciate your comments as you watch along. So yeah, it's an exciting time of year for us. It's our favorite show of the year to do. So we'll be having that come out to you next week. So this is the Nestlemania, potentially the last live show of 2024 here on the Knocker.
It's a sad date, but it is a good day to say that we're done for the year.
Some would say it's a new day.
Well, let's not go that far. It's an okay day. We're not starting there. Anyway, we should probably start about, Saturday night, perhaps?
Saturday. It's a main event. Good stuff happened. We should talk about it. Da-na-na. Na.
So I'm curious because this was, I didn't watch it live and it was clearly spoiled for me every which way, but that's okay. There were 5 matches and a lot of hoopla, obviously. I'm curious. We can start at the beginning here. We had Mac and Sammy in a really good match here. I enjoyed it. The one thing that I thought about afterwards was the little, I don't know if it was a social media video or something, but it was like 1 down, 4 to go. And I was just like, okay, I believe that the Mac is going after the bloodline yet again. And everybody else involved there. He was saying that was the weird part. I was trying to figure out the numbers because it's definitely Sammy, Jay, Jimmy. Well, he got Jay. Well, he got Sammy. So
no,
Jay,
he must not be counting Jimmy. He's counting Sammy. So that means we have Jay, Jimmy, Roman, and Solo.
Maybe, perhaps.
Solo was part of the original bloodline. That's who McIntyre has beef with. So he's on the list, Nestlemania.
But
you just made the list.
Well, let's not talk about that guy.
Last time that guy had a good gimmick.
Yeah. Anyway, The other thing that I thought was very bizarre was the fact that Mac actually beat Cody Rhodes with the help of Solo. We remember earlier in the year, so it's just interesting that he did that. But whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, Mac was in a different place in Nestlemania. He was going through it.
Yeah, going through it, my ass. Anyway, so what do you think of the match? Do you care? Is it like
Yeah, it was
whatever?
fine. Look, the tough part, this event was fun. I like the retro feel of it. We can get in kind of the aesthetics, I think, if you want to at the end, and we kind of give an overarching take on it. It's a good idea. It sounds like this might be a monthly thing again, which I think is really cool because I think they advertise it in San Antonio for the end of January. So I kind of like this is coming back because it's like we talked about, especially this time of year, the PLEs are kind of spaced out, and they've done a good job of making a lot of TV matches feel important. But this is just like they feel like elevated TV matches because obviously there were still commercials. That's obviously like the one thing here where I can look at this match and be like, yeah, it was really good, but they went to commercial during it. And anytime that happens with any sort of match and interruption, it does take you out of it a little bit. So it definitely makes it like if PLEs are up here, this is like here, and then regular shows are like down here. So it's like a kind of like a middle of the two. But yeah, I mean, look, it definitely, they made it feel important. The matches on the show were all big. And yeah, this was a good way to kick off the show.
I don't remember the order, so excuse me. Do you remember what was next? Was it?
Yes, up next, Liv retained against Io Sky.
Yes. I thought this was an okay match. I love Io, so she did a great job here. The knee at the end with the face,
that was vicious.
Vicious stuff.
Split open.
But yeah, I mean, it all made sense, and I was happy that Liv continued. But now we're on to Rheaville. Bring it on down to Rheaville. But you know, it is what it is. I don't. Is it a foregone conclusion that Rhea picks this back up and heads into Mania with the fucking belt?
It feels that way. It really does. And Liv's had an incredible run. And I think what makes me think it even more is how hard they're pushing how Liv was the 2024 Superstar of the Year, which if you want to hear if she was a female Superstar of the Year, you have to listen next week to the Knocker Awards. We're going to run through it. Spoiler alert, Liv Morgan is obviously nominated, and Rhea Ripley maybe too. So we'll debate that next week. But I feel like they're really trying to give Liv her flowers now because she's like, it hasn't been like so much with the defenses as much. Like a lot of times with a champion, it's like, was it the character work or was it the matches? With her, obviously, it's definitely the character work and their ability to fill segments and be entertaining and kind of do all that stuff and bring some people up with her. And I think it's been great for her. Like her character has really developed and been fun. But it does feel like we talk about this all the time with Mania season. Rhea's one of the biggest stars in the company. She's kind of hasn't had it for a while. This story has been going for a long time. It feels like the resolution is happening and then they both move on. But yeah, no, it's obviously always a little disappointing to see someone who kind of got you there have to give up the ball on the 1 yard line to someone else. But hey, that's part of the game, baby.
We do talk about this every year that there are the regular season and then the playoff people. So they play their playoff folks pretty hard on the end of December and January here. So it sucks, but you're right. Some people got to fill out, the Mania card. So here we are. I think what was next was the
up next was the triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know about you, Nestlemania, but this match I thought was really fun. I thought these guys played off each other well. Gunther doesn't have bad matches ever. Priest match run in 2024 has been phenomenal. I haven't seen too many Finn Balor matches I don't like, so I knew this would be good. You obviously have the different story going with them, but I think most importantly is Gunther was very dominant, and I think he kind of needed to get his swag back, and I think he got it in this match.
There were a lot of great falsies here that made me think like, oh, maybe I knew there wasn't necessarily the case that Gunther was going to win or lose here, but it just made it feel like, oh, he was in jeopardy for a half a second. And I'm like, okay, if I can believe that, that's a good match in my opinion. If I can remember that it's not predetermined for a half a second, then I'm enjoying it. So I thoroughly enjoyed this matchup. I thought, like I said, there's the other thing too, is that a lot of people don't give Gunther enough credit was that power bomb on the stairs where he caught Priest before he domed him and like put him back down and then picked him back up again. Like again, just the professionalism there is through the roof. And then just watching kind of Finn unroll and just unravel was really interesting to me. And we can kind of parlay that into Monday as well. But I just thought this was a great idea. Obviously, we're not done. I don't know where we're going on next with Gunther, but it's very interesting going forward, I think, because I feel like Gunther is in this weird, murky place where does he hold it? Does he lose it? Like there's a potential he could lose it.
There is, but I also think now that judging by the match that was booked for Netflix, there's also a chance that, he might better chance I think of him holding it now So it will be. I think there's a lot of discuss with this Raw title picture, and I think that's something exciting. But I think this was a good way for him to cement his 2024, kind of send these two guys off in their own direction away from the title. But that means it's like we know Punk and Seth are sniffing around it. Drew's always sniffing around it. We've talked about Breaker. I've talked about, so it's like, and then plus with this transfer window and stuff, like there it could really be anyone here, but I think it's starting to trend towards, it feels like he's going to be holding it. And whether it's a match against like a CM Punk at WrestleMania potentially now, because they haven't done that yet, or something else, it'll be certainly very interesting. But to me, I'm now towards leaning that he will be defending it at Mania.
I am also curious with the John Cena factor. It feels like John Cena needs to be available in the conversation.
Cena wins the Rumble, loses to Gunther at Mania, and then he continues to chase for the rest of the year. You know, because it's one of those things I feel like if when we're looking at the Royal Rumble, we've talked about this, like it feels like Punk's a pretty obvious choice, but I think Cena is one that has to be considered a favorite because obviously he's coming back to wrestle for the last year. One of the main points is going to be like, is he going to get that world title? You know, so and Cena Gunther, like it's that feels like a WrestleMania. Like it's one of those things. It'll be interesting to see how they do the main events this year, but that feels like it's definitely a marquee type match. Even if it doesn't main event one of the two nights, I definitely see it as like one of the bigger matches they could do WrestleMania.
I mean, I'm thinking in my head, right? This is mental masturbation, but you think about it, it's like you have The Rock and Roman, or you could have Rock and Cody potentially, right? You could have Seth Rollins and CM Punk again if we had some type of stipulation or something. Max lurking around somewhere, like, you know what I mean? But Gunther and Cena, like, we are an embarrassment of riches as fans, being like, we are going to have, and then we're not even talking about the women yet that are coming back, and like Charlotte, like Rhea's there, like Bianca's probably going to get her shot against Jade. Like, there's going to be so many things that we're going to be looking at. We're grateful that we're like excited to be like, we don't know, and that's the most exciting thing when you can't call it. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting, and it's we're entering the most exciting time to be a wrestling fan. Rumble season, baby, leading into WrestleMania. So, yeah, that's what's coming up next. But Nestlemania, the fourth match, was the crowning of the first ever Women's United States Champion. And first off, I would like to say hashtag JC knows, hashtag JC's hopes come true. Most of us wanted this anyways, but Chelsea Green being the first ever woman, I want to say United States Women's, but it's Women's United States, I think sounds bad. I don't fucking know. But you get it. She's a new U.S. champ. I thought it was an awesome moment for her. I love the way this match went, letting these two women kind of have the spotlighting a women's mid-card title here on a big show. It felt important, even though it was in like the before main event spot. It still felt important. They were given time. And look at Chelsea deserves her flowers. This was her moment. She has grinded hard, put in that work, done whatever they asked them to do above and beyond, made herself look like a fool. She literally lost to Michin in a fucking garbage match. And now look at here. We come full circle and she's winning the U.S. title. So I thought this was cool. This was probably my favorite part of the show just for the moment because it was something we kind of all wanted to see and they gave it to us.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, look, we're excited that she actually gets it. Joe. So she grinds hard.
Woo.
I don't, by the way, Danny said here, do we get any chance of Cena versus Gunther on the Raw Netflix debut or the following week? I don't think so.
I would expect if we like that'd be the first time we see Cena. If we see him, it'll be like a surprise type thing.
Right.
He'll interrupt someone and declare for the Rumble or some bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fascinating to me to see what happens here because it's one of those like, holy shits, you know, but yeah.
Is The Rock coming out at the end of the Roman solo match? Or is he coming out at the end of whatever Cody's doing?
Jesus, I don't know. It's going to be a tough thing. I don't know.
Which one do you smell?
If you smell what The Rock is cooking, right? It's just whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's get to since you talked about Cody, nothing to pass by Chelsea because we're excited. We're big Chelsea people here. But we should probably get to the elephant in the room, which was the main event. Obviously, Jesse the Body Ventura was there all night in and out, doing different things, was on commentary with, of course, Michael Cole and our boy Pat McAfee. But, it is what it is. The main event was kind of weird. I'm curious as a Cody fan what you thought of this, JC, because I have my own opinion, but I don't want it to sway you from what you think is right or wrong about this. But there are certain things that I certainly enjoyed. Obviously, the Winged Eagle made me very excited from a nerd standpoint.
Yeah. Can we just keep that forever? Like, I know our boy Danny was saying in our chat that it looked kind of cheap to him. Like, I don't care. that title design, it could be fucking pure plastic, and I still like it better than that fucking piss belt that Cody has to fucking carry around. Like, that thing fucking has been hideous since the second they debuted it. The winged eagle is just so fucking clean. Like, it just, it's such a beautiful title. I wish it was permanent, but it seems like, I'm wearing the Fight Owens fight shirt tonight, so you can't say that I'm biased as a Cody fan. I had to literally make the imagery to make you look like a fool if you tried to say it, but it sounds like KO might be carrying around that championship because he kind of stole it at the end there, and he said, calling himself the champion, kind of like Jay White did in AEW last year. It feels like we might be trending towards that sort of storyline until we get the blow off, because we know Cody's like injured, quote unquote. They put out that little whole fucking press release because of what happened after the match, which we'll get to. But this match was fine. It obviously had a lot of chicanery. There were 2 ref bumps, as we saw, and KO brought a chair into the mix, but he didn't get to use it. And it was laying there on the mat, and Cody had Kevin in the crossroads. And Cody looked down. He saw the chair, looked up, didn't quite give a shrug, but pretty much gave a shrug, and delivered that crossroads right in the kisser of the chair, baby. And he only needed 1, because we've seen him a lot of these times for these definitive ones. He does 3. When you're doing it on a chair, you only need 1, bro. So that's all he did. 1, 2, 3. Cody retained. And I think this is a very fascinating thing here, because obviously Cody is as milky white baby face as you can fucking get, and that's not going to change. But every now and then, it's nice to get a little taste. A little taste of that sweet sauce of Cody kind of taking advantage of a situation, because we haven't really seen that with fucking Captain America over here. So I thought that was kind of cool. I wouldn't expect anything huge to come out of it. I think it was him taking advantage of an opportunity with someone that used to be one of his good friends, who he's now very much has a lot of hate in his heart for. So I wouldn't read too deep into it, but it's one of those things. It's a nice little nugget where if they want to use it, they definitely can, but it's also gives Kevin a reason to gripe and whatever and do this and say more bad things about Cody, and maybe put a little more cachet into some of Kevin's complaints about Cody. So I thought it was very interesting. I know a lot of people were mixed on kind of how this went. I didn't mind it because I didn't really expect something super definitive here, because it feels like they have more to work out. But I think overall it gave me what I needed to get through this event.
It certainly felt like a big deal, the match itself. And then you can debate on whether or not this is true. I don't really know. I wasn't there. People were, after the fact, putting out videos and putting out tweets saying that after, when he jumped him, he being Kevin Owens jumping Cody, taking the title, saying he's the champion, and then gave him the package pile driver, which we do not talk about on this program enough. This is the couple of things I want to bring up here, at least for points for me. Was the package pile driver thing is huge, because I love that move and they don't use it, and they weren't allowed to use it for the longest time. And then, so here's the juxtaposition that I have, right? Kevin Owens gave a regular pile driver to Randy Orton, and Randy Orton's been out for like, I don't know, a month, 2 months with a pile driver. The package pile driver, in theory, is far more devastating.
Agreed. But Randy Orton has chronic coming off of fusion neck surgery.
All right.
Cody's fucking Captain America Superman.
I'm just saying.
I expect to see him next week.
I know. I'm just saying to myself, like, can we at least have some continuity in the severity of
the
how
man
this is?
deserves some time off, but we know Cody. That man doesn't take time off, so it'll be interesting to see how they do it.
It is weird. It is weird. But the other thing I want to get to from a point of standard here is that afterwards he was getting, I think they said that Kevin Owens was holding the championship on, like physically standing on Cody and doing that. And then he got stretchered, had the stretcher job, and the crowd started chanting, "You deserve it," like about Cody being on the stretcher. So it's interesting that Cena-ish feeling that we're getting, because that's what Cody says. He wants the John Cena schedule. He wants the John Cena look. He wants to be the QB1 like John Cena. Is it the new coolness to boo Cody? Because it seems like it could potentially be.
I don't think so, because if you've seen any of his entrances, it's one of those, like, look, and especially when you get a situation like this, if you're a little kid and you see that happen, you're not making any noise. So the only people you're going to hear are like the marks chanting that type of stuff. And look, we all saw the videos. It's not like it was deafening. But it's one of those things, like, there's definitely a portion of the audience that always fucking cheer for the heels in these types of situations. And we all fucking love KO. And it's just like, that's one of those things. But is Cody going to have mixed reactions someday? Absolutely. It all goes that way. But I feel like it's not going there yet. I think KO is the type of feud where some of that stuff starts to surface, especially now look, we're not at a year with Cody yet, but he's held it pretty much since Mania, and we expect him to hold it through WrestleMania, at least till that point, and who knows beyond that. So it's just like one of those things. There's always an expiration with a baby face, but I don't think you're going to be noticing any changes during his entrances. During matches, that's a whole different thing, because there's always different sorts of chants that come in this. But in this situation, I mean, you're going to hear stuff like that more, because, mamas are hiding their kids' faces who are aghast because they don't understand that wrestling is wrestling, and that they think their favorite superstars going out in a stretcher. And, so it's a different thing. But yeah, there's definitely a segment of the audience. They're usually the neck, beard, mouth breathers. A lot of them watch AEW now, so it's probably even less prevalent. But yeah, no, there's always going to be people who are going to turn the baby face. And I look forward to someday when that is fully happening, because Nestlemania, as the Cody fan forever, I definitely want to see another heel run from Cody at some point. I'm just fearful, much like Cena, that the man is such a fucking machine by the machine, they might just never fucking do it. But hey, if this is maybe an opening to getting that at some point, then yeah, I'm all for it.
Fair enough. Overall, unless you have anything else to talk about, you want to just overall talk about the aesthetic as well as what you thought of the overall
I thought
show?
It was enjoyable. I like the look. I love the retro feel. Jesse the Body, he annoyed me, but I also enjoyed him. I thought he was a little much, but I also there's something about having that old school heel on commentary who's just so angry about things that adds a little element of fun, because look, at McAfee's great and Graves are great, but they're too they're so new age. So mixing in an old school guy, I actually enjoyed him the most on the desk at the end. Whereas his other hits, I just was like, dude, just shut up. Can we get on with the rest of the show? But yeah. It was cool because he's part of the aesthetic. I enjoyed the graphics. I like the feel of it. I love the refs and the outfits and the ring setup and everything like that. It's definitely cool. I'm glad it's back, because like I said, it's like an elevated special event TV card, but it's not quite a PLE, but because I don't expect every card for Saturday's main event to be this stacked with these type of marquee matches. But for this one, it was fun. But at the same time, every time you go to commercial, you remind me that it's there's commercials. And we didn't really say it during the Liv EO match, but the best part of that match, I feel was coming. And then they went to commercial. I was just
Yeah, it was a tough watch for sure. No, I tend to agree. Look, I loved a lot of the aesthetic. I love the Saturday Night's main event theme, everything about it. With the guardrails were closer to the wrestlers down the aisleway. They made it seem like it was old timey in every way. It did bother me a little bit, because I'm me, when it was Jesse Ventura being like, Kevin Owen. I was like, it's Owens. Owens, you old fart. Kevin Owen. My name is Jesse.
I'm surprised he knew who half the people were.
Jesse the Body Ventura. He's like, that Dominic, he can pick him, huh? And it's just like, okay, thanks. Got it, Jesse. We get it.
That's what I mean. It was annoyance, but at the same time, I kind of appreciate it. If he's on once a month, I have a feeling I'll start complaining about him.
Oh, yeah. I think it's going to be 4 times a year, so I think you're safe. I think it's a quarter, so you're all right. It's the same amount of time that, the backcracker's seen somebody naked. It's fine. Once a quarter.
Yikes. But I do think it's a nice thing with the lighter PLE schedule. I think it's nice to have more of these type of things, because it's one of those where it's especially knowing they're cutting down live events, I think there's more opportunity for this stuff. And look, wrestling's at a nice apex right now, so it's just people are all for more content. They got the horses to do it. Where it's just if you don't want the feud to pay off on TV, or it's not going to pay off at a PLE, well, here's a nice middle ground. So
sure. The only thing that it made me feel was I was actually hoping for more, and it did feel slightly less, in my opinion. Not necessarily the show overall arcing, but it was just more of the match quality for me. Just felt kind of
commercials.
Yeah, it's
hard to enjoy a match when you don't see the full match.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. So I completely understand.
I'll be curious to see what happens on Netflix, if it's picture in picture or if it's, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm very curious how they do that too, because Netflix is a whole different animal. So, right. But then I think they are adding ad breaks to Netflix at some point too, it seems like. Because every other streaming, it's just going to be hey, you can pay for a tier without them. If not, it'll be what Amazon's doing. I think others have followed suit. Just Peacock's kind of always done that. It feels like that's kind of how it's going. It's pretty much going to feel like you're watching TV anyways.
Just
That's why this was something that I said immediately when all streaming happened. I'm like, look, this stuff's great, but it's like it's all going to come back to what it is. You're just going to be receiving it in a different way, and here we are.
It bothered me that YouTube went up $10. By the way, $10 a month. So I'm begging Raw to just stay on Netflix forever. I'm begging SmackDown to find a new home. I know that's not going to happen, but like
I think that unfortunately they're always going to be on different ones. If it's not the NBC Peacock, they'll be on ESPN and that ESPN Plus, or you'll be paying for the Disney pack. You know what I mean?
I get it.
It's if it's not one thing, it's another. Because I don't think it's ever going to be exclusive. Because when you're a company like this, you don't want to be, because then you don't have any leverage. So
that's fair. Totally understandable, but as a viewer, it's tough in your wallet for sure.
Welcome to, it used to all be in one place. You paid a big cable bill, now you pay a million small bills that are probably more than cable.
Probably,
and you're still paying for internet from the cable provider. So
right, exactly.
Yeah, so it's crazy, and it's probably just gonna get worse.
I'll find something. Whatever. Anyway, that's the regular part of the Saturday Night's Main Event part we're going to talk about here. We go always in the shine. We'll start with the positive. JC, what happened this week that made you go, that was pretty cool?
Can you cue me up like Joe queued up Wade Barrett?
Huh?
Did you not watch Monday the last couple weeks?
Huh?
Where Joe goes, Wade, Raw is war! You knew I wanted to yell shit. It's like my favorite part about talking about wrestling. I get to come on here and yell shit in Nestlemania. And with the War Raiders being the War Raiders now, I can come on, and whenever they do shit, I can yell war like Wade Barrett does. Boom, 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 boom. New tag champs, baby.
I'm excited about the new tag teams, but you know I skip entrances.
And that's why you don't fucking have a good sense here. You have no sense.
Entrances are necessary to skip. That's all I will say. All right.
Entrances are fantastic, especially you would think with a newer act, you'd want to kind of get the aesthetic for them, what their new character development is, how the crowd responds to them, what's the feel in the arena, the stuff they do to kind of set, it's you're missing a lot here. It's not like you're watching the same Cody entrance 1,000 times, which they're all different, by the way, because
they're totally different.
They are. Whoa, they're fantastic.
No, they're the same thing every time.
You just don't appreciate art. You're like that.
I appreciate art.
No,
I know. You know what? No, you know what? You're absolutely right. I do not appreciate art. I'll take that back. I'm the type of person to go.
As someone who creates content for a living, you don't appreciate the art of creating the best content in wrestling.
Here's the thing. I know. I love me some Gaga. What I don't like is people who will stand in front of a piece of art and try to tell me what the artist was feeling with the brushes. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Anybody that does that is a fraud.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
That's the beauty of art, is that you can have fucking 7 people can look at the same thing and see 7 different things. And that's the same thing with wrestling. It's like you're getting this beautiful imagery of these characters coming out, where if you've never seen them before, like, what is the impression you get from them immediately? How is the crowd responding to them? It's all these different types of synapses going on around you, and you're just skipping it and getting straight to the fucking caveman Adam over here.
Who the fuck is caveman Adam?
You.
Listen, I'll tell you this one. What'd you just call me? Harry fuck?
A hairy caveman? I don't fucking know.
No, you called me a fuck. Brute.
Yeah, hairy fuck. Which isn't true at all.
I'm like, not at all. So that was a terrible
insult. You're a caveman who found a razor that was sent back in time.
You are not a good insult artist. I'll say that much. Anyway, so look, I'm excited. I'm an Ivar guy. I've seen him up close and personal when he was on the Indies here.
He's a hairy guy.
He is a very hairy guy. But I will say this much. The promo package about not being able to hold Eric hold his son, the fact that they were all thinking that they were never going to come back and do this, and now they're back. And just that package spoke more to me than any entrance could ever do, because it gave me a feeling of like, I want to cheer for these guys. This is the night that's going to fucking happen. If it doesn't, I'm going to be pissed. So either way, I was invested. They got to the main event. Of course, we had Priest come and screw up Finn at the end there. I thought that was wonderful. And of course, he's just laughing along on the desk while, the Viking Raiders are celebrating with pyro, which I thought was great. But just to have Handsome Johnny / the Duke, if you knew him back then, that was his name, Handsome Johnny and the Duke. Those were his characters. And then to see him as Ivar and all these things that he's done over the years, to see a boy like that, a guy that we all respect and love, to be in the main event in New England on a Raw, winning the tag championships. I was just very excited for him. because I'm sure it's like, and add to the fact that you were probably never going to wrestle again and you came back. I think that's a wonderful thing. So for Ivar, my heart was just like 10 sizes too big that day. I was very excited for him. So I'm excited for the Viking Raiders. And I think JC, I mean, this is the most positive thing we can talk about here. We are going to get actual tag team wrestling now. Hopefully we would, inject it into our veins. So
yeah, that was the goal of this move. Obviously, JD and Finn, the joke's been made about them kind of like not defending there or whatever. And it felt like it was time because the Finn storyline has really played out where he's been like, you hang with Finn and you win or whatever. You listen to Finn and you win. And it's now suddenly Finn's on this losing streak because he's kind of doing what he used to accuse Damien of doing, which was doing other things as opposed to focusing on their tag team. And Finn just did the same thing that cost them their titles. But Nestlemania, this is why you were a fraud, because you bring up how great the package was. But you know why they do packages like that? So then during the entrance, they get cheered as baby faces. So it's all connected, baby. And you're just zipping right through the connective tissue. Disappointing.
Danny says you could have cheered for them longer if you watch the entrances. Now that's bullshit. Here's the thing.
It's all the same thing. It's one of those things. It's all connective tissue.
Here's the thing.
Heals a lot of their career, or like people that didn't really connect with. They gave you a reason to connect with them, so you get them in front of the live audience, and now you can show them love. And they're going against a dastardly heel tag team. It's cementing them as solid baby faces. What we just talked about. One of the beloved tag teams of Raw just turned a couple weeks ago. We need some baby faces to shoot up the card and fill their void. And you know what? War! Who doesn't love the yelling war? Babyface. And the package did it. It led it to the entrance. Now they're the champs. And boom, we're on our way. But you're just skipping fucking parts of the story. Shame on you.
You guys are fucking ridiculous. You want to know why? Because they can't fucking hear you cheer for them. They don't know you're fucking cheer for them. It's irrelevant to people watching at home. You might as well just skip the entrances. You can skip 45% of Monday Night Raw. You can pick 45% of SmackDown. This is ridiculous.
This is the worst take you've ever had.
Marcus, hey, there he is. What's up, boys?
Poor Marcus came in at the wrong time where Nestle's just shitting on entrances, which is a beautiful part of wrestling.
When I'm watching a pay-per-view or WrestleMania or something special, I'll stop and watch it. If I'm watching a Monday Night Raw, it's the same fucking entrance.
Maybe you really hated your entrance back in the day, so you're just trying to play it off as not important because you felt unimportant during your entrance because all people want to tell you is that you can't wrestle. Nestle can't wrestle. Nestle can't wrestle.
To be fair, Todd cuts all the entrances out on the show. So you get like an 8-second entrance with no, like, so it is what it is. So it is. Doc just turned one of his patients onto the knocker, by the way. Is Marcus? No, Marcus is not, well, he'll tell us if Marcus is the person he's talking about or if that's separate. I don't know. But entrances are irrelevant to everyday life. I'm just telling you that. No, I'm just telling you. This is a hill. Listen,
Nestlemania. Then why is it at any type of like combat sport or anything like that? They do entrances too. It's part of the show, just like it's always.
I understand that, but that's for the people in the room. It's
important to everyone. No, as a viewer, when they come out, I learn so much about them before they even get in the ring. Because we talk about it all the time, Nestlemania. There are these people who are great in the ring, but there's nothing to them. You give a guy a cool entrance like Bobby Bubble Wrap, and the guy's over like Rover. That guy would have been that good in WWE if it wasn't for Glorious. And then look, it went away, and so did he. So, boom, case in point. Book closed. This is still your worst take in the history of
No, it is not.
So fucking bad.
I've got far worse.
No, this is your worst. The entrance
it isn't.
Your worst take. You have a lot of bad takes, but your entrance take is the worst take in the world of the world.
If you're in the arena, it's awesome.
If you're at home,
it's irrelevant. Too. It is irrelevant.
You don't like
it is irrelevant.
I get it.
Here's you know what I find. You know what I find more egregious is that you fast forward the matches. You want to be able to tell a story. You don't care about stories. You don't care about wrestling moves. You don't care about anything. You tell me. You You told me. You told me.
Talk about this was a nothing match. It's like those are the ones I fast forward because it was you do it all the time. I get more out of watching the entrances, the promo packages, the lead up, the fallout because that's where the story comes in. Yes, there can be beautiful stories told during matches, but if it's a fucking 6-man tag at AEW where they're ping-ponging around, I ain't gonna fucking learn shit. If I'm bored and I want a little bit of enjoyment, I'll watch Commander make 7 botches in 3 seconds. But if not, fast forward to save me some time so I can watch more entrances.
The fact that you don't watch matches but will watch entrances is ass backwards in every way.
Matches. I don't watch waste of time matches.
Listen. All I'm saying is you talk about wanting to learn something about somebody.
Yeah.
You learn in the match. You learn about what they can do in the match.
But you learn more from the entrance.
Here's the thing. I'll tell you exactly the difference right here, right now. Shelton Benjamin. Nobody gives a shit about his entrance.
He had a great fucking entrance.
He did no.
Stopping me. No, ain't no stopping me.
They don't do that entrance anymore, dickhead. What I'm saying is, all Shelton Benjamin did was have good matches, folks. That's all I'm saying.
I loved him. I never skipped a Shelton Benjamin match. But you know who matches I do skip? Zoe fucking Stark, okay? She doesn't have a good entrance or good matches. 0 for 2. Talk about
that's in the heat. That's in the heat, of course.
No
Let's
shit.
Get over it. By the way, you're
fucking erroneous.
You're erroneous. Anyway, Danny says I bet Nestle gets booed by the missus when he enters the room. So listen. And then yes, Nakamura's War Games entrance was very tremendous. I do agree with that. Here's the thing. My wife boos me in any different reason because I'm me. It is what it is, folks. She knows what she married. Anyway, listen, my kids boo me probably more than my wife. So that's what it is. Because they love my wife more than me. That's not hard to believe at all. But as we get back in, anything else that's positive that we want to talk about? Because you clearly went off on a tangent about this stupid entrance thing.
Nestlemania, what's the name of the program, you chicken tender slut?
You chicken tender slut. You know what's funny is like I literally tweeted it out and then you like 2 seconds later sent me a thing and I
must have been very close in our catch up fast forward. So I would remind you that means you were fast forwarding more than me, just saying. But I fucking died at this line. And every week you always ask me, like behind the scenes look here, the job we're knocking. I was like, you have a good title this week? I'm like, no. But this week I heard that and I'm like, I'm gonna text Nestle right now before I forget. This is the title of the program.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because
so good.
I think the reason I like doing the topics like that is because then I can go back and be like, when you look at the episodes, it's not just like wrestling.
No, it's super helpful. I just I don't like putting labels on things all the time. So my mind doesn't always think in that way.
No,
I'd be terrible if my job was to fucking make headlines for things. I'd be fucking fired because I'd be like fighting with people. They'd be like, no, that doesn't encapsulate the whole thing. It's like when people take quotes out of context. It makes me mad because I'm like, that's not the quote. You're taking something out of context. You're taking a piece of it and you're spinning it one way when that's not what it was. And that's sometimes what I see. But with something like this, chicken tender slut, you're just looking for a reason for people to click on it and look at chicken tender slut. It's got my attention. Rhea got our attention in that promo with it.
Now we're going to be chicken tender sluts together. It's fine. Everybody should be a chicken tender slut.
Tenders.
Yeah. So our boy Bertsky, you said something about chicken tenders, and he gave me shit about it. He goes, "I'm a shamer."
Chicken tenders,
but he said I was a shamer for the chicken nugget, and now because I said the chicken tender is okay, he's very upset. No, Bertsky, I don't know if you listened earlier, but JC threw you under the bus as saying you have really bad takes about food. Just wanted to let you know that he was talking shit about you.
We were talking about Chick-fil-A sauce, and I said the only person I ever met who doesn't like Chick-fil-A sauce is Bertsky, and that's true. And look here we are because we're talking about chicken tenders, and you're making me hungry again. But we should probably talk about this segment so I don't keep thinking about chicken tenders. But look, Liv and Dom getting that great heat, like we said. Rhea's the number one contender, as we hit on earlier. Did they say it was happening on the Netflix show?
They did not say specifically.
It feels like the Netflix debut with the Royal Rumble. It feels like that match is going to happen. And like
the Royal Rumble's February 1st.
I mean, they're dragging out this on Nestlemania. What have we learned with Judgment Day stuff? It's never over. Whenever we think it's over, it's not. So there's easily a way where they fucking do this. They've been doing this dance for fucking 8 months with these two. So why not a little longer? But no, it feels like the Netflix debut. But then again, nothing's getting booked up fast. So we shall see.
It's frustrating. It's absolutely frustrating that they're going to, here's the thing. I think Netflix with we'll talk about Punk and Seth, obviously, the Ula Fala as well. It just feels like those two matches need to bookend the show. So I feel like if you throw a Rhea in there it feels
like it'll be like a promo type thing kicking off, whether it's like Cody promo or maybe that is like the show starts and Cena or The Rock's music hit, probably more Cena, and then you go to the match. But yeah, no, I agree. One of these feels like it should be the main event because I don't feel like we're going to get a title defense, at least with the major titles, unless if it's Liv Rhea is the major title defended, because it feels like Gunther's going to get a little defending hiatus here, and obviously Cody and KO, and that feels like it might pay off at the actual Rumble, given the nature of Cody's injuries, but who the fuck knows? I mean, but it does feel like obviously Punk and Seth, I mean, that was going to be one of the main events last year until Punk got injured. And then obviously Rock solo, that's for literally, like you said, the Umafala. And that ending the show would make sense because that's an easy way to bring the Rock back if it's potentially Rock Roman at Mania instead of Rock Cody. But yeah, no, it's either way, it's interesting. But yeah, I did like Romo's little prepackaged. That's the only note I really had from SmackDown is I liked his prepackaged promo challenging Solo because it was like, finally, we're getting these two to go off. Because I was a little worried that they were going to try, and who knows, maybe they still fight at WrestleMania, but I was a little worried like that wouldn't pay off till WrestleMania completely. And it's like, we've already done the War Games and we did the one before that. It didn't feel like there was a lot of legs in the current form to really spin that forward. So I like that we're at least getting, if it isn't their last, like their first Solo match here, because it feels like the next step in this story has to be Roman now that he has his team had the win over Solo's team. It is now time for him to actually challenge Solo for it. And so it's the next good step. So that was really my only takeaway from SmackDown is that we're getting that match and they confirmed it on Monday.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a toss-up. I think we're in the new frontier of Netflix coming up. So it's going to be a whole new ball game out here. I'll be curious to see what people think about it. Cause we know it's going to start off hot. We know that, but can you keep the momentum going? Hopefully you can.
I mean, it's one of those things like, all last year, I feel like we said that like after WrestleMania, like, man, it's usually a letdown. And we never really had it. Like, it's just something the way they're clicking right now with the amount of talent they have. It just feels like right when we think they hit a peak, it just keeps on going. So I expect more of the same from that here in 2025.
Anything else that you really enjoyed positively, Les?
I did think Braun and Kaiser was an absolute banger. I love both these men.
I got really excited for this, and I was just like, the fucking shoulder tackle spot where he went to spin around, and then he was like, where'd he go? And then he did a giant shoulder tackle. I thought it was great. The one thing I took away about this match that I was, I already like Braun in terms of what he's going on, but my other thought was they really worked Braun's arm in this, so I thought that was wonderful, and that proved to me the staying power of what Braun Breaker will be doing for years to come. Because when you can sell a body part, when you can work a body part, you can tell those simple stories that make a lot of sense. And so I just thought this was a great checkpoint for him. Like when you're looking on the list of things people can do and should do when they're main event stars, it's like, can you work a body part? Yep. Like that's important. Bret Hart did that every, Shawn Michaels, like all the greats, right? Like you work a body part. So when I look at Braun Breaker working the body part, I went, okay, well, it's not the most glamorous thing in the world, but it definitely helped. And Braun seems to be going back and forth playing tennis with himself, whether or not he's a baby face or a heel. But,
he's just a badass, Adam. He's a badass.
Who the fuck is Adam? You do a good bark.
I wonder if Dom was barking at Raw. I meant to ask him that because our boy Dom, neither of us went in Boston. No. Our boy Dom was there. I want to know if he was barking for Braun. I bet he was.
I don't think he was.
I think he's slowly become a fan. He won't admit it.
I think he probably booed him just because he's Dom.
I don't think so because he would have got eaten by the hounds. The hounds would have got him.
I do love that Ray was above him and like looking right down at him. I thought that was great. Anything else you want to get to? All right. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. What would you like to talk about? Anything specific? You want me to go for it?
Well, we haven't really talked about the actual thing, so I'm curious your take. I don't know if I call it heat, but Seth and Punk being booked for Netflix. Does this feel soon to you? I know this was something that I think, I know that definitely was on the list of at WrestleMania, maybe for the title, but they're doing this singles match. They obviously really ramped it up the last 2 weeks with their stuff. It's full speed ahead. What are your thoughts on it already being 2 weeks away, where it's one of those things, you do this match now, sure, there's nothing stopping you from doing it again at WrestleMania with a good story, but the first time you get something like that first match is usually really the big banner type match a lot of the times for a matchup because it's we haven't seen this and they've been building it. And then obviously doing it on Netflix is a big deal because Netflix is a big deal. But this is something that was supposed to main event WrestleMania last year. It was something that people thought might main event WrestleMania again this year, but instead we're doing it 2 weeks on Netflix. I'm just curious what your thoughts are about that. If you're disappointed, excited, neutral, going to see how it plays out.
Well, our boy Denny says it's wasted on Netflix, in his opinion.
That's kind of where I lean, but I don't know if I'm all into that take, so I kind of wanted to hear what you had to say.
I think my knee-jerk reaction was, you got to be fucking kidding me, like everybody else, right? But the more I've thought about it is that we are in an embarrassment of riches in terms of all the things we can do. And I'm thinking, just because I've been listening to a lot of Cody Rhodes interviews, and he's been that dude leans hard into fucking wink, wink, nudge, nudge stuff. And he said something along the lines of, if you think you know what WrestleMania is going to look like, I can tell you right now, you won't have a fucking clue.
Cody's such a bullshit.
No, I
He's
know,
the
I
king of
know,
bullshit.
I
And I
know.
love him, but he literally like it's just like half the time he just says like I think people have said like Cody likes to fuck with us, but
Yeah,
he's also like it's kind of like it's one of those things where he just kind of
company
like
guy.
sensationalizes all of it just so it's like you think you're on your toes, but you're
Right,
not gonna be. You know what I mean?
right.
But it's one of those things. I do think we're getting curveballs, and this could be the first step in that.
Stoops in the house saying that Punk is winning the Rumble and headlining against
Whoa,
Cody. Wow, that's a take. That's a
interesting.
take. That's a take. Here's my thought originally. Like the minute this happened, I was just like, what if just go with me on this weird journey here? What if Punk wins the Rumble, right? It'll be whomever Punk faces. Let's just say whomever. Cena wins the Elimination Chamber, and it'll be Cena and Cody at Mania. And Cody beats Cena to get the moment of the passing of the torch. And then Cena has to then go back down to the bottom, work his way up the whole year and see if, oh my God, my ass, is he going to do it or not? Like you're going to clinch up being like, is he going to win or not? So I think that's why. But
so here's the flaw I see in that, and it's not like a big thing, but the reason why I don't think that's likely, like maybe those outcomes happen, but I think it'd be like maybe like flipped because if Cody's facing Cena, that's the main event night 2. But that also means the main event of night 1 has to be Roman Rock, which means the whole point of CM Punk's story of winning the Rumble is that he would main event WrestleMania, and CM Punk Gunther or CM Punk Seth isn't main eventing over Rock Roman. So that's the one thing where I'm kind of curious here. But that's why when I said earlier, I'm kind of leaning to Gunther holding it. Like maybe Punk does win the Rumble and it's Punk Gunther at Mania, or like maybe Stoops right on. Maybe it truly is Punk Cody. You know what I mean? But it's to me, it feels like if The Rock isn't facing Cody, that means he's facing Roman, and there's no way in hell that Rock Roman isn't main eventing one of the 2 nights.
so I was actually going to say this, and our boy the Backcracker is, him and I on the same wavelength because we're like that. I'm not worried because I thought about this an awful lot that it is going to be a schmaz on Monday.
Yeah,
and I think, I think you're
they
excited.
could do it in the middle of the show, top of the
Yeah.
hour, where you can get away
Yeah.
with some bullshit. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, I would see a lot of stuff here. So I'm thinking a schmaz. I'm not worried about it because I feel like they're going to give us blue balls here, where something is going to go awry. So I'm not worried about it because I think they're just trying to get eyeballs on it, and then they're going to pull the rug out from underneath us. I think that the more I talk about it, the more I'm convincing myself. So if other people like Joe and other people are thinking that, then I think that it's going to be a big deal. So
yeah, I do think whether it's this match or the Roman solo match, one of them will be disappointment. Whatever one doesn't quote unquote main event, most likely. So I think it definitely could be this one. But yeah, no, I am glad that like I had the same knee jerk reaction as a lot of people because like it was one of those things. I'm like, oh, this is a great match, but I was just like a little like, so okay. I'm glad we talked it out.
no, like I said, I'm not worried. There's something about it that makes me feel like we thought Punk and Rollins was going to be WrestleMania worthy. But I think based on watching the interaction of Roman and Punk, I think that's where we're headed, folks. If I had to put money down on the table right now, early odds, this is like early, right? This was December 17th.
Okay.
My early odds right now are going to be Punk going for a championship against Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns might be on Raw, or Punk, one of those two. So I think Roman beating Gunther or somebody would be interesting. And then we have that. And then on the other flip side, you can have The Rock versus Cody on night 1 or night 2. But like,
yeah,
I can see that happening.
If Cody Rock's happening, that's night 2. But a night 1 main event of Roman Reigns and Punk, I can get behind that, even if it's not for the title, which, I mean, that'd be interesting. But if Braun Breaker wins the Rumble and it's Braun Breaker Gunther, like that doesn't need to close the show.
Right.
But like, so it just like, because it does feel like Cody has one main event slot. Roman probably has the other. The Rock faces one of them. And then the other one's like either like Cena, you know what I mean? So it is going to be very interesting. So I think there's going to be a lot of fun things we'll get to see play out. But the more we talk it through, it does feel like that Seth Punk isn't going to main event really regardless. So maybe you do just do it here and you can always revisit it down the line.
Sure. Our boy Stoop says he thinks Roman versus Rock at SummerSlam. They're not going to waste that at SummerSlam, in my opinion, but it is what it is.
Yeah, they'd probably save it for the next WrestleMania. But the Roman Punk thing, I think, that seems like a real thing because, like, I think it was like Danny or someone said about the Paul Heyman favor. Like, all that's going to play in, and yeah, so that makes a lot of sense.
JC, are you upset about me not seeing Jada live right now?
I know Jada's there, Lola's probably there, Carmen's there, Shawn Michaels is there, fucking cooking. I'd rather be there than hanging out with Nestle, but at least I get to hang out with all of you.
For fuck's sake, right to my face. Cena versus Punk versus Seth versus Cody at Mania says
Oh my
Danny just for the entrances.
There
Thank
we
you.
go. Entrance Palooza. Throw the rock in.
I
Let's
will
do his
watch
lightning
pay-per-view entrances. You know what the
You're a
most
fraud.
you know what the
Listen, you're a
most
fucking
ridiculous
fraud.
you know what's funny is that the Royal Rumble is like the only thing where you're like, that's the entrance that pops you. You know what I mean? Like you're like, oh shit, somebody's
No,
coming out.
like,
Great.
those are the, besides the beginning and the end, like there's such like a quick like boom, because then it's just
Right.
it's more of like the shock of the person. It's nothing, because you don't really get to do an entrance in the Rumble unless if you're 1 or 2 and then maybe 30. Because if not, like your music hits and you're tennis O'Neilly to the ring and hoping not to fall.
SummerSlam this year is going to be 2 nights. That is correct. Yeah. So
Sounds
maybe
like a lot of them are going to be 2 nights soon enough.
Yeah, well, I think the big 4 probably, I would imagine. Although
Yeah.
I don't think Survivor Series needs to, but if they have a War Games match every night, who knows, right? You know, like it is what it is. We're getting to a point where
man, they got the horses to pull this shit off, so they probably gonna do it.
I don't know. I mean, that's how they're gonna continue to break records, is just continue to have nights. Like that's what they're gonna do, because eventually they're gonna have to come back to these things and realize, oh, we can't up ticket sales so much.
It's not even about that necessarily, but right now, like if you're selling this shit out, then they're gonna do it, because that's what businesses do. If there is a fucking demand for it, they're gonna supply it. But if it becomes like AEW where they can't even fucking fill a fucking gymnasium, then the supply will diminish.
Easy,
but I don't think that's
easy. Come on now, let's be a little sensitive. All right,
just speaking facts, bro.
All right, whatever. We don't have a lot to talk about in terms of like, I guess SmackDown in general is just kind of what I
did a setup for the main event.
I didn't. This is funny to me. Like I kind of chuckled when it was like the DIY promo. It was like, I'm the, what did they call it? They said, I'm the madman and he's the mastermind. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. Johnny Gargano, mastermind. Yeah. Okay. Like what? Like, and then like, whatever. It is what it is. Next week though, Gargano versus Shelley, pants off, dance off. Let's do it. It's fun. But whatever. There's something about the DIY thing. I'll be curious to watch.
We are.
Yeah, it is. We are. I guess nothing else really matters on SmackDown, so we'll stick to Raw here. I am curious what you thought about the continuation of Drew and Sammy beating each other up there.
Yeah, it feels like these are 2 guys that are going to be in the Rumble, and they don't really have much meat for them to do. So it's like, they always have good matches together. They had the one, but they're still bad blood. So we can do like a street fight or some sort of gimmick while leading up on one of these shows. Maybe it's not the Netflix show. It may have made events, one of these Raws leading into the Rumble. And because we kind of see this during Rumble season a lot of the times, like there's a lot of feuds created like during the Rumble, but a lot of the stuff leading in is just kind of the same rivalries, because the same guys are involved in the same matches. So they just feel like, look, you guys are 2 of our top stars. You're good on TV. We're probably going to mix Jey Uso into this a little bit at some point, but for now, you guys can just wrestle and fight, and people will enjoy it, and we're good. Yeah,
no, listen, I do love them both in separate ways, but I just feel like they seem like they need to get away from each other. Like they seem like they just run in the same circles all the time. So I'm on to the next thing in my brain already, and I'm waiting for them to catch up to me.
Yeah, if the problem with Drew's checklist is, I would say he'd be a good transfer window candidate, since he's feuded with everyone on Raw a million times. But we're kind of getting a murky area anyways, but he still has this checklist, and so it just is one of those things. Like it feels like he's still going to be around these guys. And look, if he's targeting the Usos and Roman, then Sammy's in their orbit. So it just Sammy's the one that's here. You know what I mean? So I think it just is what it is. But we got another month and a half-ish to the Rumble, and it's just like I think these guys are just in each other's orbits.
All right, fine. And then we have this stupid fucking women's triple threat match. And I just wrote in big giant letters for this Intercontinental title triple threat. I said, make me fucking care.
I wanted Caden Carter to win. You know what was funny? I thought this was really weird how they did this, because it was Zoe, Raquel, and Caden.
Wasn't there another one with Io, or is that next week? I'm sorry. That's next week.
I think that's next week. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was funny because Zoe got the entrance like going to break. Then Raquel was in the ring. And then Caden Carter got a full solo entrance. Like, da, da, da. And I was like, you know what? I know I pretty much said when we saw the bracket, we're like, well, Zoe's definitely advancing. But I was like, you know what? Give me a random upset of Caden Carter winning for no reason. Getting that Damian Priest rub, figuratively and literally. But, no, I knew what to expect from this match. It was fairly short. And, but yeah, it was, maybe when they fill out the bracket next time, maybe put a little more excitement in this,
It's Dakota Kai or bust for me. Like
me too. Now that Selena's out, all in on Dakota.
And honestly, legitimately, like when I hear these dirt sheet things saying like Natty, I'm just like, Jesus.
Oh yeah, she's in
fucking
next week's,
Christ.
right? So I kind of
Jesus fucking Christ, JC.
Who is it next week? Maybe
well, we already know the spoilers, so I mean,
I don't because I don't read spoilers, but it's Natalia and 2 other people.
Well, I know that Io's subbing in.
Oh yeah, because Kyrie got taken out, right? So maybe Io wins.
I don't know. I don't think Io needs to win this thing. That's the problem.
But it's one of those like because does Natty Zoe? I think this is Zoe Stark's side of the bracket, right? So you get Io, Zoe.
Well, I think Dakota and Zoe are here, and Natty and whomever are probably Io on their side.
Okay.
So I can see like an all damage control.
It's Lyra. So actually, the winner of next week will face Lyra.
Lyra, yes.
Lyra Io would be a banner.
Yeah. So I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, I just think this Intercontinental title is great, but I just feel like we're not as strengthened as we are on SmackDown.
Which is funny because I feel like 6 months ago we were saying the opposite. It was like SmackDown has no woman. But it's just, it's funny how it kind of turns here and there,
I agree. And then finally, something that really got in my craw this week because I just thought it was stupid was the backstage segment where it was Gable going after the American Academy or Alpha Academy again. I just stepped to myself. I'm like, why are we revisiting this?
It's already Monday night, baby. And what do we sell on tpublic.com/jobberknocker? Monday night rerun.
I just saw this and I went, what the fuck? Like we were trying to get them away from each other and now they're back. And it was just like, what do we not have anything else for either of these groups to do?
Weren't the fucking, wasn't Gable flirting with Nick Aldis to go to SmackDown? Wasn't that the whole point of him? I know he was in his hometown, but it's like, yeah, send Gable, the Creeds, and Ivy there to get them away from the Academy. Just like and the Wyatts, for God's sakes. It's like literally like there was like a 3-man, 1-woman unit. If they've already feuded with these and they've already feuded with the Wyatts, send them to the other show. But yeah, no, I did think that was kind of weird.
It bothered the fuck out of me because I was just screaming at my iPad being like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Gable
Why am I
Tozawa.
watching?
Yippee.
I think, look, I love Taz and I love Otis and I think Maxine's doing everything she can with everything she's got. So good for her. But
she's got a lot.
Well, that's where we're ending that conversation. But I will say that Gable needs to get the fuck away because all I kept thinking about was every time I see them in orbit of each other, I guess orbit's the word of the day. Every time I see them crossing each other's paths, I just think to myself, why? Why? You're bringing Gable down every time he's even remotely close to that giant bulbous man. Like, why? So it is what it is.
You know what I think when you say orbit?
Yep.
Dirty mouth, clean it up with orbit.
Ding! Yeah. I used to love those commercials. Fun fact, I actually worked on an Orbit. It's a whole thing. I worked on an Orbit's video long time ago. Anyway, anything else or would you like to get hopeful?
Glorious.
You're my only hope. So we decided both of us did not show up today prepared. I'll be transparent here.
It's the end of the year, bro.
It's the end of the year. JC's
We've been doing knocker, okay?
We've been doing knocker shit is what we're doing. Yeah, for next week. Knocking shit. So we're gonna play a little game that JC and I want to do because we're trying to be hopeful here. Kind of a New Year's resolution. We want to hear people's thoughts too in the chat here about what are we hoping for? What do we need to see break out? Is it a tag team? Is it a woman? Is it a man? Is it a title? Does somebody just switch? What are we? I'm going to go through some stuff here, and I'm just curious. Do you think maybe satisfactory? Do we need to do something with them? We'll think about that. Surprised Nestle hasn't worked on a.
You didn't proofread that one.
Nope. Nope. He got me again. That son of a bitch. That sly son of a bitch. Anyway, let's get into this. Very quickly, let's just talk about the champions. Obviously, there's a lot going on here, but you're happy with Cody, obviously? You're happy with Gunther? Yeah.
I'll tell you, here we're talking about world championships. How about we say someone we'd like to see reach a world championship for the first time in 2025? For me, it's fucking Braun Breaker. I'm ready, man. This guy's proven it all. I'm ready to fucking light the candle up his ass and shoot him to the fucking moon. No matter what avenue we get there. We're probably through after WrestleMania and stuff. I'm ready for 2025 to be a big year for Braun Breaker, and a world title win is definitely on the list for me.
I mean, I love that for him. I just don't know if it's too soon.
Oh, that's kind of no. Yeah. Every time when someone says, "Oh, maybe too soon for Braun," then I watch Braun. I'm just like, "It's nothing too soon for this motherfucker."
I don't know. I just, for me, I'm hopeful that I want Finn Balor to get a champion. I want Finn Balor and KO to get a fucking an actual world championship in this next year. I think both of them are intricate to the shows. I think both of them do fantastic work. They're getting up there in age, but they don't slow down. I just want Finn or KO to get that fucking because KO was a regular season guy and got the Goldberg treatment, and I think that was completely unfair as
But
a
he's
KO
also
guy.
main evented 2 of the last 3 WrestleManias.
I know, and I'm sure he doesn't give a shit. But as a KO fan, I just want to see
I
him
think
win the
that
title
Stone
one more
Cold
time.
match and the tag match are better than any world title. But no, I agree. Like, he hasn't held the singles championship, they said, since what, 2017 or some crazy shit like that. Like, I think KO is way more likely than Finn. I don't think Finn's ever happening again, unfortunately, even with the 2 titles. It just feels like he is what he is. I mean, Nestlemania, you sent their records, the biggest losers of 2024 to the chat. I believe Finn was like 16-50 this year. So yeah, that doesn't scream world champion to me, because unfortunately, like we've said it with Finn all the time, like he is the perfect jobber to the stars because he's a main event level talent. He makes people look good. And like, look, we're seeing it with this Priest feud. He's part of the reason Priest got so elevated. And that's a fucking very important role. And unfortunately, his protege, JD McDonough, is the same fucking thing. Both studs, but it's just like one of those like, so, but yeah, no, KO is definitely somebody that every year it's like, I feel like he could. It's just always a numbers game. And with these longer reigns, like it felt like if he isn't going to get a quick insert with Cody's title here, it might not be happening anytime soon, unfortunately, because we thought like maybe that was a possibility. Maybe he wins around here and then he holds it and loses it back to Cody for Mania season. But I don't know. I'm a little worried with those 2 guys.
Also, our boy Danny said Dom Mysterio U.S. title run. I would love that.
Fuck
I think
yeah.
that'd be. Let's go for it. And I do agree with Joe here that the demon needs to come back, but I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. I think that if it's going to happen,
Priest at WrestleMania with the demon, because this feud's never going to end.
Oh, for fuck's sake. This is like the Wile E. Coyote and fucking Roadrunner. They just keep on going, you know, but it is what it is. Anything on the women's side that you think, I'm just curious because there's a lot of women here that are killing it and not necessarily getting, their time. Do you think there needs to be a women's champion that or maybe a return or something?
I will say bringing the mid-card titles, I think is great because I think it helps kind of mold the one, like the next thing. I think obviously Tiffy's going to have a big 2025. That's an obvious one. She's already holding the Money in the Bank. I wouldn't be surprised at this point if she's fucking doesn't cash in till like WrestleMania or after WrestleMania. It feels like it's trending that way if she doesn't do it soon, especially if we don't think she's going to headline with the title. It's like, let her just fucking hold that pink briefcase all the way through. We get past Mania and then she can go on a run. So she's the obvious one. But to me, we just kind of mentioned her name. And it's funny. You declared her like the greatest women's wrestler, could be the greatest women's wrestler of all time. And then she just went fucking in a complete plummet because she was Nestle cursed. But Lyra Valkyria, this was a woman that when she came to NXT, I had no fucking idea who she was. I thought the promos were kind of weird. I'm like, who's this girl with fucking wings? Is she a Viking with Valkyria? What the fuck is she going on? But then it's just one of those things. See her every week. See her develop. They give her a badass entrance with a chant, and I'm just like, look, I'm in. And the more I watch her, I'm like, this girl is a star. There's a connection she has with the crowd. So she's someone I'm looking for to break out in 2025 as well. But her and Tiffy, I think, at the top of the list. But look, it is competitive in the women's division because NXT has a fucking army of them coming up. So it's one of those things. It's like time to make some moments. But we saw it here with Chelsea, and we're going to see it with the IC title. There's going to be more opportunities for the women to find individual success with these 2 added titles in 2025. And I think that in general is just exciting.
Look, I'm all excited for every opportunity that the women get. I mean, I'm not a huge Michin fan, but you can't deny that people like her. So it is what it is, fine. Right?
She's a good mid-carder, so it's perfect to have mid-card titles now.
Vinci, King of the Ring.
I mean, wow. Ding, ding, ding. And stop the show. It's over. All in. All in, baby. We're going to have 3-hour show soon. Fucking Vinci's going to be all over our TV every week. I can't fucking wait. He's not a 2-hour guy, but he's a 3-hour guy, baby.
Get the goddamn belt off of Nia. Listen, Bertsky, the reason you like me mid-chin, more like mid-chin. Okay. It is, but it's just, I mean, that poor woman, she works very hard. I don't know.
Yes. And look at Nestlemania. We love mid-carders on the show. Mid-carders are some of my favorite wrestlers. I mean, my favorite wrestler, Cody, was a mid-carder forever until he wasn't. But I have plenty of favorite wrestlers that were in the mid-card forever. Shelton Benjamin. And he's still a stud. And Mia Chin happens to be very close with Shelton Benjamin. They have the relationship, so it's kind of a correlation. Not as clean as Shelty in the ring, but there's something that is undeniable about her, why she deserves to be on TV. And we've seen them kind of maximize her the last few months with these street fight more type matches is more her lane. So, but yeah, mid-chin, it's accurate, funny, and it's not an insult.
Yeah, no, look, I will say one thing about the women's championship. There's a lot of hosses in there, but I will say one person that has got me very interested is Candice. I think Candice LeRae, if given the right opportunity, could be even if it's a small reign, I think she'd be really interested here. So I'm just
she did
interested.
just have a singles reign.
No, but I mean, like, I want to see her.
I know what you mean.
But you know what I mean. I want to see world title Candice LeRae. I think she's. I do. I want to not a mid title. I think Candice LeRae could do it. I do.
Wow.
Again, probably a short reign. You might need a lot of work in there.
You know why you're rolling on this take?
Why?
Because in your own sick mind, it's a way for you to continue to put your thumb on Johnny Gargano.
No, that has nothing to do with it. He's a tag champ.
No, he's a tag champion, exactly. Not a world champion.
Well, listen, if the day ever comes and they want to go back to the factory idea of just pumping out storylines every 7 years, Johnny Gargano as the next Daniel Bryan makes perfect sense to me. So it is what it is there. But moving on, something else I want to throw out here because this is since JC's really got an eye for talent, if you know what I mean. There's one person in NXT technically on Level Up that I've been impressed with when I've been seeing clips and other things about this. One, Kendall Gray. Incredible background with amateur wrestling. And we've not seen a woman, in my opinion, that has the amateur wrestling background. The MMA fighter background, obviously, with Lola, but there's something about her that has some sort. I'm not going to do it. Don't worry.
Poor Kendall Gray.
I know. I'm just saying. Potential. We'll end it there. All right. Gonna go to the line.
We've seen pieces of her on NXT. But yeah, like you said, she's doing a lot of the work on Level Up. I think she's definitely someone to watch. The athleticism is undeniable. So, but like we said, they're a fucking factory down there. But here's the thing: there's a lot of women ready to come up, and I think now with the extra titles and with the longer shows, a lot of these women are going to be coming up. The Roxannes of the world, the Julias and the Vackers probably ain't going to be down there too long. So there's going to be room for a woman to step up, and she's definitely on the short list to step up.
Oh, fuck you. Just fuck you, Joe. And her career is over.
Here's the tease for the knockers next week. There is a new category, and it is related to Nestle and his ability to curse people because there's enough content there to do it. So there's a little tease. We have, I think, 4 or 5 new categories for the knockers this year, and that one might be my favorite.
Kendall Gray, an anagram for Nestle curse. You guys are too much. Too fucking much.
Chat, put a pin in this and remember it. Oh, this poor girl. She's a stud, though. Maybe she can overcome.
Listen, I didn't say
you cursed Raquel. She dealt with it.
She's still here.
Yeah, she's still here. She's had a decent career.
She has terrible fashion sense.
You've destroyed Myra Valkyria for the time being, but who knows?
I have nothing to do with this.
Maybe she'll be the first ever Intercontinental Champion.
There's no fucking way.
You got Von Wagner fired.
I didn't get Von Wagner fired. That guy
told me the Wyatt Six would never wrestle. They wrestled the next week. Oh, you got skills, bro.
The Knockies are coming next week. Yes, get excited. How much for a sting face from Nia? Huge Wang needs to knock it off. He walks around with a huge Wang.
Oh, he knocks it off.
Yeah, of course. Is there anything else? Because like my only thing, I was like, there's kind of like the shit or get off the pot people in my opinion. Like there are people who are like been in NXT for a while that need to fucking figure it out or just figure something else out for their life. Like Lexus King to me.
He just got there. I'm thinking more of like a guy that I love, like a Wes Lee who's been down there a long time. Tony D'Angelo. These are people that are like ready to come up because they've been there a long time. Like, I mean, Lexus King, I think they just started in NXT like 8 months ago.
I don't know. It just feels like he needs to get it going because he seems like he's a finished product.
They're trying to get that AEW stink off him. That's what they're trying to do. You know, it's a process. It's not easy, Nestlemania.
And the other thing too is I just want to see if Pretty Deadly can get a fucking match. Jesus Christ, right? Like those guys,
probably your fault too.
Those guys deserve to be tag champions. I will say that much. It's never going to happen though.
There's 2 sets of titles, so there's definitely a chance.
Pretty Deadly can't even. Pretty Deadly can't even sniff a fucking TV match. Here's my thing. I don't want anybody to ever get fired, but it feels like they're just going to can them. It doesn't make any sense to me. They're just not being used. It's upsetting me.
The same thing happened with my boys, the Grizzled Young Veterans, and they had to go be a schism before they got fired. Well, before their contracts went out and they left.
There's something like to me, they're perfect. They're perfect for bad guy stuff.
And who knows? Maybe with the more emphasis, what it feels like going into 2025 as we end 2024 here, there'll be more emphasis on tag team wrestling, and there'll be more opportunities for them. But they're like Danny's saying right there. They're like the perfect representation of the Nestle curse once again.
And then, of course, 100% Nestle's fault. Fuck all y'all. That's all I'm going to say right now. Because
honestly,
honestly,
hope is this is like, oh, who is Nestle cursed and who is he going to curse next?
It's JC's hope versus who is Nestle going to curse. That's exactly what's happening here. And I don't like it.
Should we talk about like, because look, like I know one of the things we do on this program every week is shit all over AEW. Should we try to like maybe have some resolution?
Sure,
like
let's.
Because Tony Khan did say today, he said World's End is the end of an era in AEW, and a new era will come out after in 2025. Whatever the fuck that means.
So here's the thing. As I watch AEW, I will say this much, excuse me, easy for me to say. There are parts of that program that are getting better. Yeah, absolutely getting better.
They have a lot of talent.
But it is so weird to me that every time I get excited about something, I'm just like, how do you fuck that up? How do you, like, to me, it's like, what you have to do right here is fucking just erase the whole board. Here's what you do. You make Will Ospreay the fucking whole show. You make him the fucking star he needs to be. You need to bring back Kenny Omega and have him feud with Okada and make those two feel special against each other. And have that.
Want to come back right now?
No, I know. I'm well aware. But you make Okada and Omega wrestle each other. You make Ospreay the fucking focal point of the show. You fucking figure out why Mercedes isn't Mercedes. You pay her all this fucking money. Let's fucking figure shit out for her. Drop the TBS title. Put the real fucking title on her.
Let's get title might just be the real title at this point.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, Mariah's done such a great job, but she, like, with the exception of the Mina stuff and the Tony Storm thing that just happened, that, you know,
it had nothing for her.
Right. It's so bizarre to me. But those to me are like the biggest egregious things in the world. There's like, how do you treat Okada that bad? How do you not have Will Ospreay be the fucking guy? MJF, I don't understand.
Well, here's the thing. This is the biggest thing, Nestlemania. If you told someone last year, be like, AEW royally took a shit in the MJF Adam Cole feud, you'd be like, how? How do you fuck that up? Two of the most interesting guys on television, and they have made it fucking so terrible. We don't want to watch either one of them right now. Like, that to me is just like, how? How did you get here? Tony Khan, you need to take a look in the mirror and look at yourself and be like, hey, Tony, how the fuck did I fuck this up? How did I do it? Oh, yeah, that's probably how. Figure it out.
I don't think that Jon Moxley losing to Darby Allin is a bad thing, but I don't think Darby Allin is AEW World Title.
Here's the thing. No, here's why it's a good thing. Because Christian Cage will cash in immediately on Darby Allin and will be where we need to be. That's number one. So your World's End, if that's your thing, this is what I'm looking for. If this is like the end of your world, like in the next month, I'm looking for Christian Cage to win that world title. Whatever the fuck Moxley is doing, that to finally pay off. I'm like you said, elevate Ospreay. Elevate Swerve. Elevate these actually talented people I want to see. Fucking stop fucking around with MJF and Adam Cole. Like, make them the stars they need to be. Mercedes, whatever they do. Fucking old man Coke Dope's probably going to come back at some point and muck everything up. But whatever. Daniel Bryan's already talking about wrestling again. It's just like, bro, we just went on this fucking terrible run. And now you're just like, fuck off. Oh, and by the way, if you're still paying Ricky Starks, put that motherfucker on TV. Jesus Christ, Tony. If not, then whatever. Let him go.
I think they do. Here's the thing. They already have 1,400 million titles. I know WWE does too. But this needs a brand split. I need my people on Saturday to fucking be on Saturday because otherwise I don't. Saturday. No, I understand that. But the thing is why have the fucking program in the first place then?
Because they literally launched it as CM Punk's show and then CM Punk left and they were stuck with the show. That's literally what happened because with CM Punk, they're like, we have enough stars to split. Without CM Punk, it's like, fuck, we don't. Collision was his show. It was like him and FTR. They were like the focal point of it. And then CM Punk's just gone. And now it's just like, oh, we have this show. Well, that's dead. Because remember, there was like Collision people. There was Dynamite people. So it's one of those like, I don't know. They need to make one show good before they start thinking about two shows. I
know. Listen, I agree with you on that. But I just think like they have the people. They have the actual. I can't put that up. Danny is killing it tonight. But I can't put that up, Danny. I love you, but I can't put that up just to protect you. But no, look, the part that makes me like agitated is like they have young studs that they're not using, and then you roll out like we give a lot of shit to him, so I'm sorry, but you roll out like people like fucking Commander, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, there's so many people that don't deserve a contract in AEW yet have one.
It's not even that. It's like put them on Ring of Honor. It's just like right. Make shit make sense. Like you have the horses. but it's like how you just like you're so inept in so many places that you're not maximizing your talent. And just like we're in this season with the fucking Continental Classic where it just kind of like makes everything worse because it's just like fucking Gold League, Blue League, whatever the fuck the names of the leagues are, and I don't know.
All right, you know what? Let's get out of this. I think we should probably move on. Would you like to?
Don't call it a comeback. Nestlemania. What do I like to do?
Scream.
Roar! First transfer window. Braun Strowman heads to SmackDown, squashes Carmelo Hayes. This is the perfect guy. This is a guy who needed to start another show because he was all involved with Bronson Reed and all that shit on Raw. Send him to SmackDown. Let him go out there. Let him roar. Beat some shit up. Kind of stir it up a little bit. This was a good transfer window. Good to have Braun back. He's on my television. He's getting my comeback.
My comeback is going to one Toni Storm. I was very excited to see Toni Storm because all I kept thinking about was, hey,
she's finally all elite.
I know she's finally all elite. Great for her. And I, it's like there's hints that this could be okay because it's like she doesn't realize that she was timeless. Like maybe she has like amnesia. I'm like, okay,
that's the beauty of this story.
Okay, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Like I can sink my. This is why. Here's my hope, and this is hopefully not a curse. When they said new era in AEW, I kept thinking to myself, is this where the stories make sense now?
No.
Is this where they're going to reboot everybody? Like, what are they going to like? I have a feeling that the new era just means they fucking sign some hot free agent and everything's going to change again and whatever. But on the odd chance, right? The odd chance that maybe because he hired Jen Pepperman and she's awesome, that maybe she'll have more of the keys to the car and fucking drive this thing the right way because she worked for the WWE and knows how to write episodic TV. So I don't know. There are glimpses. And when I saw Toni Storm, I went, okay, I think she's great. I think Timeless Toni Storm was probably one of the best characters I've seen in recent history. No hyperbolic air. She was probably the best thing in AEW in the last year. That feud was probably the best thing.
Her character was fantastic. And they got 2 bumps this week in terms of returns because they got one of their other really strong female characters in Julia Hart back. So it's, again, AEW is getting more horses in this division and more people to play off their champions. It's like, don't fuck it up. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be that hard to fuck up, but you find ways. It's just like
oh, yeah.
There's so much talent. But, yeah.
So much. Let's go to the big old finish.
SmackDown this week, we got Braun on the Grayson Waller effect, so he's going to beat up Grayson in theory. That'll be good TV. Like you mentioned earlier, Gargano takes on Alex Shelley. That'll be a pants-off match for a lot of the dorks. And then Nia and Candice take on Belair and Naomi. Naomi is stepping in for Jade Cargill as the champion, so they would not be stripped. And Nestlemania, this just makes me think even more that Naomi was involved in taking her out. And this is a storyline I've been waiting for.
It's going to be fun, that's for sure. But I think Naomi's probably going to be the person and not Belair because Belair.
Yeah, it feels like Naomi or Naomi and Bayley together if they make it a tag feud. So
yeah,
that's either way. Like I can kind of dig this because like a heel Naomi we never really got a full taste with. So it's just like I'm interested about it because I think especially with her time away, I think she improved even more character wise. That I think we're ready for it. And I think like the chemistry these women have, like she's someone who can really get more out of Jade too. So.
Yeah. I mean, look, I tend to agree with you, but we'll see what happens.
On Raw, we have Gable versus Tozawa. We have The Miz versus Dexter Lumis, which I find this match so funny because of the stuff that happened before with the money and everything with how Lumis, I think it was either on his debut or whatever, but so we're bringing that back. And there might've been something else that I forgot about.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Anyway, would you like to, talk about AEW real quick?
I mean, weren't we just talking about it? But yeah, we can preview it. We can preview.
It's a holiday bash.
Oh, it's a holiday bash. It's not winter. Did we already do winter is coming? We probably did.
Yeah, we did. It would already pass.
I can't keep track.
Winter has passed. We hear from our boys, FTR. That's a cool thing, I guess. Whatever. It is what it is. We also get this random. I said it's not random, but it's just kind of fun to me. Christian Cage and Nick Wayne taking on Hook and Shibata. That's right.
Oh, Shibata bread, man. It's delicious bread, but I don't want to see it on my TV.
He is something else. They love them. They love them, all these New Japan guys. They really do. I'm trying to find the thing you sent us where all the
Well, I know one match is Will Ospreay versus Darby Allin. That'll be a delight to watch. Sure. Have those two ever wrestled? I have no idea. But
I don't think so.
Yeah, and then I know Mercedes defending her title against Anna Jay, which that sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. So I'm excited for that. There was some random tag match, and I feel like Shelton Benjamin faced someone.
He faces the Beast Mortos.
That's right. And Dom got really mad at me because I said, Dom, the Mortis better not fuck up this match. Apparently, he's like one of Dom's favorite wrestlers. I've seen this guy on AEW, but he's one of those matches I fast forward because I'm like, this guy's in a fucking bull mask. What the fuck is going on? And they've never explained him to me. But now, this week, I will be sitting. I will have my remote on the table. My phone will be down. It is a Shelton Benjamin match. My eyes will be glued. So Beast Boy Mortis, it's your chance to show me what you got.
Yeah. Oh, and then, of course, we have the random fucking match everybody's ready to go for. It is going to be Orange Cassidy, Jay White, and Hangman Adam Page against the fucking Death Riders. So, there's that.
Sorry, I fell asleep because you said
in a
six-man tag.
Six-man tag. So there you go. That'll be the main event most likely, I'd imagine, because that's the way it is. Anyway, you figure this shit out, guys, because we want AEW to fucking crush.
Hey, the rest of that card sounded pretty good to me. A Shelton Benjamin match, Mercedes Anna Jay, Will Ospreay, Darby Allin. Sounds good. I think MJF's going to talk. I like when he talks. I like when FTR talks.
Danny did put this one last thing up here, and to me, it seems like a foregone conclusion with the zero through the strike through the zero, the tease there. Penta's coming, and Penta's coming fast. That's what the detective thing. So when that happens, I am all ready to go. Like, I am so excited for Penta to be there.
I'm excited for the present of Lucha Libre to meet the future of Lucha Libre. Dragon Lee versus Penta El Cero Miedo.
Isn't Dragon Lee the speed champion?
Is he? I have no idea. I don't follow speed.
When I just looked at the roster, I saw him holding the championship.
Good
so
for
that
him. I
shows
wonder. I think Andrade had it, so maybe he beat Andrade. I don't fucking know.
I don't know.
I know Candice had it, but I think she's now lost the women's speed title to someone. I feel like it changes a lot. It's whatever. It's sponsor pays for it. It's exclusive to social media. It does something.
Anyway, on that note, I think we're done. All right, we've talked enough.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe Santa, if you've been good. I know that the Backcracker's been naughty this year, so we're not going to include him. But everybody else who listens to the Knocker, there might be a little Christmas present coming in the form of the Knockers coming very soon. And if you're really good, maybe you'll see it earlier than normal. We'll see. But anyway, keep your peepers popped, as JC would say. We hope this is probably the last Knocker of the year. So with the exception of the live Knocker of the year, yes. We're going to take a week off to celebrate. JC's going to get fucking slammered.
Gotta eat my 7 fishes, bro.
Yeah, there you go. On that note, thank you for listening and supporting the Jobber Knocker podcast. We'll be back next year with a live Jobber Knockery.